And what I've done is I've created a prompt in ChatGPT. And I said that, hey, I like to do a HIPAA compliant professional response, but I also want a response that's, snarky, that's not HIPAA compliant. And it's basically something that you wish you could say but can't. That's what it is.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right, so this episode is take 2. So we brought on Len Tau like a few months ago, and I was going through editing it, and my editor was like, "You messed up the sound, Eric." And I was like, "Oh, great, yeah." So I looked, and it was like super echoey and didn't work. So because Len's so cool,
forgot to press the button.
Yeah, rookie mistake. So because he's so cool, he's like, "Yeah, let's just record another one." So
Yeah.
that was good. So
So we scripted this whole thing, and now we're doing it line by line of exactly what we said.
Step 1, step 2. Yeah, I know.
Not exactly.
I'm not surprised that I missed a detail. Knowing myself.
Me neither. You need a checklist.
I know. Well, nice. Yeah, Len, thanks for coming back on and being cool about dealing with our mishaps.
Perfect. I mean, I'm glad to be back again, and hopefully we can provide your audience and listeners with relevant, actionable items that they can actually take back to their practice and start using the day it's recorded. I mean, that's really what I like to do when I do these podcasts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You just have to laugh at the same jokes that Eric is going to do.
Yeah. Well, I thought on today's, which would be interesting because, a lot of your expertise is in all like reputation management, responding to reviews, all that kind of stuff. I had seen recently that there were people, posting and saying, hey, I got this one bad review right or whatever, but I can tell it was like AI generated, right? Just from the response, you can tell someone just threw it into ChatGPT or whatever and said that. And then there were some people that responded, like marketers and stuff, and they were like, oh, well, hold on. If this was ChatGPT or if it was not generated by them, like there's a chance you can get it removed easier or you can do that. And so there's like, I kind of wanted to talk to you about where you see first AI kind of affecting, if at all, reputation management from like how the patient can respond versus how we can respond back. And if any of that stuff is true where right now, because AI is so new that maybe it's an advantage if someone does an AI review if you wanted to remove it?
So you're not talking about just someone who had a bad experience, potentially, came home, had ChatGPT write it for them, and then post it. Are you talking about like fake reviews that are AI generated?
No, both.
Yeah, because I don't know. Okay, all of that.
Answer everything, Len. That word vomit that we just gave you.
Sorry.
So AI is obviously still fairly new. It's amazing how much it can do in the industry, and I'm talking about the dental industry specifically. I mean, there are so many products out there now. I mean, a few years ago, none of this stuff existed. And so I think it's going to forever change the way we do business and forever change the way we operate in our practices. It will start to replace employees. So when it comes to the review space in particular, anybody can go into ChatGPT and put tidbits of information about an experience they had and ask ChatGPT or any of these other AI products to come up with a review that will cover those tactics. It's very easy nowadays to use or to figure out that a product or something written is going to be, or something written that was generated by an AI bot. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very easy nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very easy to prove if something was AI written, but I don't think that's going to change, at least right now, if Google is going to take it down or not, just because an AI bot wrote it. That's just the way
that makes sense, because if someone's using it, right, is just like an enhancement tool, but if they're still saying it's my voice, I just want someone to make it better. But yeah, I feel like you can easily tell. There's some like definitely telltale signs if something's been written, right? Like it's like too many emojis, I feel like, is an AI thing. If there's that
like hyphen,
that long hyphen,
the dash, the two
dashes,
dashes,
the two dashes always does that.
Yeah.
On mine, it'll always say, like if I try to read it, it'll say like when I'm doing show notes here, even when I tell it not to do it, like on our episode, it would say like, Len explained to us, how AI affects reviews, and it hit hard. Whenever it says it hit hard, I'm always like, why do you always say that? I don't talk like that. I don't say, or this was fire. Or even the, I don't know, it'll be like at the end of, a show note too, or something, it would say, whether you're a seasoned dentist or just new to the profession, this one's for you, right? Like that's one too that cracks me up
It's funny.
every time I see
I
it.
love Game Changer. That's still my favorite. Everything's a game changer.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think that I think we're in the world where AI is going to, or people are going to use AI to write the review potentially. I don't think it's necessarily going to come down unless it violates some of those things that Google takes stuff down for.
Yeah.
They curse in the review. They use homophobic terms. They put a link in the review, which doesn't happen that often. They obviously talk about the wrong business, and I'll give you an example. I had an oral surgeon I was working with in Philadelphia, and she had an issue, and somebody wrote a review, and it kept on referring to the doctor as a he, and she was a she. Yeah. And so that clearly is not a true review, and and they took that down. So if there's clear violations, I think Google will still take those down. But I also believe that if something's written by AI, you should be able to respond with AI, and there's a lot of ways to use AI to respond in HIPAA compliant formats. And I think you fight AI with AI, and I think it kind of helps.
So what would you say on that? Would it just would you feed that review just into ChatGPT, copy paste it and say, give me a response, and then I guess in whatever tone you want, right? Like whether you wanted it professional,
Yeah, so I actually, I have a Facebook group called Raving Patients. You're familiar with it.
Yep.
And it's all about online reputation. It's all about, what to do about a bad review. I really wanted to become trending towards marketing a little bit more, but it's stayed in this review reputation space, which is fine. And people post their bad reviews they've gotten. And what I've done is I've created a prompt in ChatGPT. And I said that, hey, I like to do a HIPAA compliant professional response, but I also want a response that's snarky, that's not HIPAA compliance, and it's basically something that you wish you could say but can't. That's what it is.
Oh, cool.
And when someone reaches out to me and says, Len, what do you think I should put for this? I put it into my prompt and it says, as you wished previously, here's a HIPAA compliant professional response, and here's a not compliant snarky response. And I'll just give you an example. We'll have a little fun here because I love doing that.
Yeah.
And people get a kick out of it. So I just put one in there yesterday. And I will tell you what it's a short review, so it's okay. So it won't take that long to read it. So the review was very disappointed in the level of transparency, whether surgery was required or not, how the cost of the procedure compared with other providers. I've decided to take my family elsewhere where I can feel more confident that I'm getting genuine advice without over-servicing. So that was the review. Okay. So it says, this is the professional HIPAA compliant response. We're sorry to hear you felt there was a lack of transparency during your visit. We always aim to clearly explain treatment options, costs, and the reasoning behind our clinical recommendations so that our patients can make informed decisions. While we can't address specific treatment details publicly due to privacy laws, we welcome any patient to reach out to us directly to discuss their concerns or request clarification. We generally appreciate your feedback, and we're sorry to hear that you decided to continue your care elsewhere. We wish you and your family all the best moving forward.
That's a great,
Nice.
that's a great response. And honestly,
Which I think is a great response.
And I wouldn't even know if I got that, if I was the person that left that 1-star review, or if I was someone else searching for a dentist and I saw that response, I would not think that was generated by AI. And it sounds clear, professional.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
I think All right, cool.
Well, in my prompt, I tell it not to use terms they normally use. And for AI, it says don't use your dashes, so you would never know.
Yeah.
So here's a snarky and unfiltered response that's not for public use. That's what it says.
Okay.
We're sorry you're disappointed, but transparency doesn't mean we're going to price match dental surgery like a used car lot. If you're comparing complex procedures and anesthesia costs across providers, we hope you're also comparing training, safety, and outcomes, not just dollar signs. We only recommend what's medically necessary. If that feels like over-servicing, we respectfully suggest getting a second opinion by throwing shade in a 1-star drive-by.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's like what you want to say and
Yeah.
what you have to say, right? Is
Yeah.
that how it's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. What you should say, or what you need to say, and what you wish you could say and
Yeah.
can't. That's
I
really what
know.
it comes down to.
That's
Actually
that's a
really,
good one.
That's pretty cool. That's cool. So in your group, then, if someone posts a review, you'll give both responses to them. I think that's nice
do.
because then it gives the person maybe a little bit of that like validation that like, okay, we all know I want to say this, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? That's funny. If you like our podcast, check out Alex's newsletter, Just 2 Minutes. It's full of great advice, which makes sense considering it's her thoughts and not me sidetracking her every 2 seconds. You can subscribe at coupleofdentists.com. The link is in the show notes. Now, back to the pod.
Yep, and look, people ask me all the time. Their lawyers say, don't respond to anything, and I say, I look according to the letter of the law, like literally, like what the law states is, you're not able to respond and acknowledge that they're a patient. You're not. That's what the law states. Whether a positive review, responding that way and thanking a person is going to cause a patient to report the review and you get in trouble for it, I haven't seen any case like that yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, the rule states you're not supposed to acknowledge them as a patient. For a positive review, I honestly have never seen somebody get sued, okay, or get in trouble. The one instance that I know about was a patient posted that they were extremely happy with the procedures that were done in the practice. That's really what the person wrote.
Okay. Yeah.
The dentist made the mistake and responded by saying, "We're so happy you enjoyed our magic needles." Now, from what I gather is that
that
patient,
inferred Botox, right? Yeah.
Right. The patient, they inferred that they had Botox or some type of fillers, and the patient didn't want people knowing she had that done, and the dentist removed it when the patient got annoyed. But the patient, that wasn't enough for the patient. The patient was sued the dentist, and then the dentist lost.
Yeah.
So in that case, they released private information about the appointment that definitely violated HIPAA. I'm not saying you do that, but if you want to thank a patient who says they love their cosmetic dentistry, you can simply say, "Thank you so much. We're so happy you loved your result. You didn't do anything wrong. Yes, you acknowledged they were a patient, but you did nothing wrong." I don't think you're going to get into any problems by doing that. I've never seen anything like that.
So it's more like, it's more like less is more with that, which I think is probably like good that I would need to know, because I feel like, because I like to talk so much, right? Like my personality would be, I would get excited if someone said they liked it. And I probably unintentionally could see myself responding, like you said, with like, "Oh, you love our magic needles," or, "We're so glad your dentures fit perfect," right? Or something like that. Just because I think I'm probably more extroverted, so I think I thrive off of like, oh, someone saying something was good, and then like totally an unintended consequence, right? And like it stinks because you didn't have bad intentions, but yeah.
For the negative reviews,
I just don't have an off switch. Yeah.
Yeah, for the negative reviews, I think you need to be cautious in how you respond.
Yeah.
I generally always like to say, try to take it offline first. Don't respond online. Fix the concern, address the concern. Maybe the patient will take it down.
Yeah.
That's always the first choice of defense. A lot of times people will say, "Well, they're not a patient of record," or "We don't know who the patient are." I think it's very rare, although people say it, very rare that some random person is going to post a negative review on your business. So they're most likely using a alias name. Okay.
Yeah.
They're embellishing the truth. They're not telling the whole truth, but it's half truth. Because that's what we do. Okay.
You remember your side of the story. And like you said, I would think, like, if it were me and I was going to leave a bad review somewhere, I think through my head, I would think, I don't want them to know it's me. So I'll either like use my like a family member who has a different last name, right? Or like a friend, and say like, "Can you post this on my behalf?"
Or you create a
new Google account, right? Yeah.
Under an assumed name.
I mean, that's what a lot of these honestly, like half of ours, that was the biggest challenge, is half the bad reviews we would get, you would try to do what you said at first and try to like, okay, who is this patient? What happened? Like, is this accurate? but then it would be like some random handle on Google, and you're like, I have no way of figuring out who this is.
Yeah.
Correct. And then in that case, you simply respond by, we're sorry, you had a negative experience. Unfortunately, we're not able to comment online. Please contact the office to discuss your concerns. At least you've responded. And remember, you're not really responding to the patient who left the review. In many cases, that person isn't going to come back in the practice. You really want to put some sort of response online because the people reading the reviews want to see it. And that's who you're really targeting here, is that you're at least addressing something online.
Yeah.
You can't specifically comment about it, but it shows that you are reading the reviews. It shows that you are responding to the review. And when you respond to a review, whether it's positive or negative, I think the best part is the patient will get a notice that you responded. So if it's a positive review, when I write a positive review, I love seeing that the business responded to it. It shows that they care and that they're really managing or monitoring their reputation, versus some offices who don't give a rat's ass and they never say anything at all. I like the fact when I get a response.
And I think too, if you're trying to target, and I would assume most dentists are trying to target what they deem a good patient, which is someone who, accepts or understands the treatment you're recommending, that understands the value, so they are fine paying for that, right? Shows up on time, all that stuff. I would argue that type of person, probably when they're searching on Google and looking for a dentist, would probably appreciate when there's a bad review that you took the time and responded to it, because it just shows that you acknowledge that mistakes happen, you take responsibility for it, and then you try to correct it, right? Like if I was going anywhere, like if I was going to a restaurant and it said like, oh, I don't know, the
fries were burnt, or taste, and the server was terrible, or got my check wrong.
If they responded and said, hey, we understand that, we're trying to get better, I'd say, okay, mistakes happen. And so I think a sane, normal person is probably going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
No, and the other thing that's really important is that you've got to think before you post. I'd rather you take a couple of deep breaths. Do not be angry. Do not get annoyed. Take a couple of moments to figure out the best way to respond, because it's very hard to take away a response that is bad.
Oh yeah,
it could hurt you.
It could hurt you. Totally good. I never got into luckily I had a team who like held me back a little bit, like emotionally, but I remember, right, when you're doing a startup, I think the thing you're most scared about, besides like patients actually coming in the door, is that first bad review, because everyone's going to get one. It's just when. And then when you're trying to build reviews and you have 0, you're like, I hope that one doesn't come till at least I have 50 or 70, right? Because then you can bury it a little bit easier. And for us, luckily, it was probably like a year in or so. And I remember like it was towards the end of the day, and one of my assistants was kind of like quiet walking by me, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, nothing, kind of. And I was like, yeah, something seems off. And she's like, yeah, we got a bad review. And then I think she just saw my eyes. I had that like moment of like, oh shit, we finally got one. And then you're like, how bad is it? And then I read it, and then I got really angry at first, because of course you're like, that's not true. They're embellishing this, like you said. And then luckily, I think I called Alex probably, and she was like, just wait,
talked you off
wait a little bit,
edge.
Relax, it's fine, it's not the end of the world. And then I think it ended up not being anything. And then honestly, like one piece of advice I have for like every dentist is like, you're going to get bad reviews. It's going to happen. You can't please everyone. You could probably make the argument that it's probably not good if you're pleasing everyone, because then you might not either be doing the treatment that needs to be done, right? Or you might be appeasing too much. So I think maybe you're not running the best business you could be if you don't have some bad reviews. And that you'll get through it. It's like the same thing when you lose your first employee. Like in your head, you're like, oh, this is ruined. Or like when you lose your first hygienist, I'm screwed. You can't find a hygienist. It's never going to happen. With all the employees we've lost throughout the years, it's still worked out. It's been fine. And it's going to be the same with a review.
When I'm speaking across the country and I have a pretty good-sized audience, I always start off by asking, especially when I'm giving my bad review seminar called, oh my God, I got a bad review. What do I do?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've never gotten a bad review. Okay.
Yeah.
And generally, I would say 98% of the room does not raise their hands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when the person does raise their hand, I'm like, "Are you a student?
Yeah.
Are you in the wrong building and you're not a dentist?
Yeah. Are you not a dentist?
Yeah.
And if they say they are a dentist, I say, well, if you haven't got a bad review, you're not technically a new dentist yet, in my opinion, because you're not officially a dentist until you get a bad review.
Yeah,
sure. That's just the way it is. We can't please everyone. There's always we lose patients. There's no loyalty. We never provide perfect treatment. So you're going to get a bad review at some point.
Well, yeah,
so
even like and sometimes it's not anything you even did that was really your fault. Like we had one bad review. It was a patient who we had seen for years. And he was really nice and friendly. We did work on him, like always good experiences. Well, we switched from we either renegotiated with insurances and some random Blue Cross Blue Shield got out of network or whatever, something like that. And he just left a 1-star review and is like, I'm not going here anymore. They don't take my insurance. I'm pissed. It wasn't anything related to me. I thought the guy liked me, but I was like, maybe not enough to leave a 1-star review. But my point is you can't control that stuff, and so you can't focus on it too much.
Yeah.
100% so. You can't. And sometimes those bad reviews are actually good for business. If someone writes about the fact that you are not in insurance networks, that's going to weed out some of the patients who are not going to come in anyway. Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily bad if you get a review like that.
Yeah. No, that isn't, because then you can kind of explain it a little bit more too, especially when there's certain insurances that just don't pay well at all. You can kind of in a professional way, right? Say the reasoning why, and some people might be like, okay, well, I appreciate that they don't want to feel like they have to do cheap dentistry, right? So I think that helps.
Did you want to talk about that story?
Yeah.
That
so here, I'll pivot into this one and let me know. So
turned a bad review into a marketing
I saw this
thing?
on, I don't know, I feel like I'm older, so I don't see things on TikTok. I probably see them after they've gone through TikTok, then Instagram, then Facebook, right? So it's probably 3 months late. But there was it might have been where you're from in Florida. It was somewhere in the South, I thought. It was a barbecue place. And they had gotten a bad review. This is a barbecue place, right? Okay. And they got a bad review that said, there's no vegan options here. This place sucks. And they took that bad review, printed it, and put it on the back of their T-shirts. And now that's the shirt they wear all the time. And they said, it went viral. It helped their business so much because their target market isn't the vegan. And it was so funny. So, have you ever seen, and that works, I feel in the restaurant industry because it's not as professional of a setting as a dental office, but have you ever seen dentists try to flip the script a little bit on a bad review and do something like that?
We all know Eric wants more friends. If you're enjoying this episode, share the podcast and then tell them to DM Eric so he can hit his quota of 1 new friend per day. Now back to the episode.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I talk about that exact situation. It was a barbecue place in Plant City, Florida, so it was in Florida.
Okay.
And their Yelp review says no vegan food here. And I talk about that exact situation at my event, at my speaking engagements, because I think it's great. Yeah. But I also talk about it's really taking a negative and making it a positive.
Yeah.
And I have yet to see in the dental industry, other than a toothpaste company, do anything related to that in the industry. So I have yet to see it. I would love to see it and flip the switch because you see it. One of the initial one that went viral was one that it was one of those chalkboards on the street in California. It says, "Come in and try the worst meatball sandwich that one guy in Yelp ever had in his life." So that was what it was, and that went viral back in the early 2000s before anything with social media happened. Now there are so many different instances where companies are doing this. There's a company, a restaurant is very popular. It's the Bado Italian Bistro in California, and they wanted to be the worst rated Yelp restaurant. They gave you 50% off a pizza if you left it a 1-star review. So
Weird.
they have 1,300 1-star reviews, but literally you wait 3 hours to get in there.
That's so smart.
Wow.
That was such a good way just to almost if people have a bad experience, it kind of doesn't affect it. It has no influence on it because your expectation is you're supposed to see 1-star reviews.
You can't tell what's good and what's bad, actually.
I love when people do just funny off-the-wall stuff and it works like that. But you have to execute it on it properly, right? They did that well. That's really funny. That's almost like taking the power out of the review. That was really smart.
100% so. And another one is Snowbird, the resort.
Yeah.
They have one. It's called the 1-Star Campaign. And they took their bad reviews and put it all over these advertising in magazines and billboards. And too advanced, disappointed, no easy runs. And I show it during because it's taking these negatives and making them a positive. Like I said, I haven't seen it in the dental industry yet. I'm sure we will at some point. Mm-hmm. One of the examples was I used to show when it came to SEO. it was Sushi Near Me was the name of the business.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because that was the exact name. So when people typed in Sushi Near Me,
It would come up.
and I said, at some point a dentist is going to do it. And
I've
dentists
heard of
eventually
someone.
did it.
People will ask that. They'll be like, "Should I title it like dentist near me?" Or wasn't the big
Yep.
thing too to be like, my sign is like dentist.com, right? People would put the .com on their signage or on their business name, because maybe they thought that would like help.
I don't know.
I remember that was a thing for a bit. Yeah, dentist near me. I remember people.
That's smart too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like thinking outside the box.
Yeah, that's funny.
So those are some changes. I'm still waiting for someone to show me a dentist who has done that. It hasn't happened yet, but I would love for it to happen.
Do it at your here's an opportunity. Do it at your seminars. Have people leave a bad review for it. See if you're like, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
Nice. Well, that was really cool. That was fun
Yeah.
just to kind of go through all that stuff. Yeah, it's good to know. It was interesting to hear how, like, yeah, if AI really has any effect on it, it seems like it really doesn't. It just goes back to the core principle of
Unless it's a fake review. Like, are there AI bots that are just putting fake
like-
reviews out
you're
there?
saying like AI farmhouses or someone that, like-
yeah. And not even for bad well, I guess it would be for bad reviews or positive reviews too. You have a new business and you're like, I need reviews. I'm going to pay someone. And it's like, yeah, I have this AI bot that's going to put like 500 reviews like directly on my site.
yeah.
Like,
I'm
is
pretty
that
sure.
a thing?
I'm pretty sure that
Does that get flagged? I'm sure that would get flagged.
Yeah.
There are companies out there that periodically send emails and messages that I get because people still think I'm a dentist. I got a call, believe it or not, from Heartland Dental yesterday.
Really?
And they said, is this Dr. Tau? I'm like, it is. And I said, so-and-so from Heartland Dental. And I said, how can I help you? He goes, have you heard of Heartland Dental? I'm like, I have. Well, how would you like to consider selling your dental practice to us? I'm like, well, you obviously haven't been updated. I haven't had a practice in 3 years. So I still get stuff. People think I'm a practicing dentist. So I get stuff from marketing too. And there's companies who reach out and said, we have people all around the country that will leave reviews for you for a fee. You do not want to go down that route at all.
Okay, I was going to say, and this, obviously would not want to do that. That I feel like too is what happens a little bit in like some Facebook groups. I don't think it's the admin's fault or anyone like that who's doing it, but I'm pretty confident there's probably people who are trying to push products. And it's always funny because you can tell they'll be like, oh, check out this new product I did. And then people will leave responses to it. And you're like, I know that was written by AI and someone probably paid a bot to do it. And so like that personally
I hate to
just
say
bothers
it.
me. But
I don't want to call it any specific group.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm talking about in the dental space.
Yeah.
There are many Facebook groups. A lot of them are very, very sponsor heavy. And I think, in my opinion, the questions being asked are because they're promoting a sponsor and they're looking to then tag the sponsor to get them some action. But I think a lot of the responses, a lot of the reviews potentially are, I don't want to say false, but not really as truthful because it's a sponsored group. And I do have concerns that we're not being as transparent about that.
Yeah. Which I think people can read through that. Like, I totally get it. If like you got to grow a group, just like you've got a podcast, we've got a podcast, like people need to do stuff. And I have no problems with that if people have that issue. It's more when the person who like has the actual product tries to post something and then there's like 10 responses and you're like, to make their product seem like it's better. Right? And you're like, these people don't exist because you click on the person's profile and it's like some random photo of someone like in a nice backdrop, but they have like no friends.
Yeah. I get those friend requests of like random people and it's like 4 friends. And I'm like, nah, I don't think this is
get
true.
it, Len, a lot as like an influencer in the dental field, but like just with our like little podcast, like I'll get random like Facebook requests from people and it's like, I know this is not a real person.
What happens a lot lately is if someone's related to a member of my group, whether they're friends of a member, they automatically get entry into my group.
Okay.
So I don't have to go through every person because anybody can join my group. It's not a doctor-only group.
Okay.
So the people that don't get accepted automatically are people that have no friends in common with anybody, which is rare if you think about it in the dental industry.
Yeah.
And a couple of them say they're a dentist, and then they post some investment scam thing. And that happens more often than not now, where it's literally like a bot that's doing all this stuff, or a person who's not who they are. So I'm very careful and they're banned from the group immediately because I don't want people to get that stuff in my group, especially.
Yeah.
But I see them in multiple groups, so they're obviously able to get through these filters that are out there.
Yeah.
But they exist, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Well, who knows? Well, nice. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on. We really appreciated kind of going through all this stuff. It was fun. It's always fun to talk to you. I feel like if there's ever anything review related, you're kind of the man that we all go to. So,
well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on and allowing me to, talk to or entertain or however you want to call it your audience. Hopefully they enjoyed the content, and obviously if they have any questions, they can always reach out to me.
oh yeah, totally. All right, cool. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks.